Hey fellow legends, it's SG Rogue with a new Apex Legends video. In this video I'm going to talk about how you can win more 1v1 fights in firing range. First off, if you are new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It would really help the channel out and you will stay up to date on all the news and everything Apex. So let's jump into these. So the first tip is healing. Now, probably about 99% of you are running around with gold armor in your 1v1s. I mean, it's just sitting right there, why not use it? So make sure you utilize this. Understand you have the ability to heal almost instantly. Whether you're sliding into cover or moving from ground to ground, you can bunny hop in and pop a heal. Just keep conscious that your health is so important in 1v1s. If it just takes a second to pop a heal, make sure you utilize this ability. As you watch this gameplay, you'll notice that I don't hesitate to pop a heal. If I'm sliding into cover to push forward or fall backward, I'm healing while I do it, and it allows me to have the ability to change my disadvantage into an advantage, and sometimes win a fight that I may have not won if I didn't heal. So just keep this in mind. So the second tip is the path that you take to your fight. And this is one of the biggest problems I see veteran players make, and definitely the largest mistake I see new players make. So you need to understand how your enemy can see you and how he can shoot at you. So you'll notice in a lot of these clips, I'm going to come off the platform and go down the right side because I know he can't get a shot on me. I'm going to utilize the advantage of the slope to get more bunny hops so I can push on him faster, and it just provides me a safe route to close the distance and utilize my close range weapons. Understand the ability of your weapons and how you're going to approach the fight and close your distances, or how you're going to create distance if you're using something a little bit more mid-range. Understand your advantages and disadvantages when you're choosing the path to your fight. So things like climbing up on top of rocks or turning the corner, and just understanding that this gives you an extra few seconds if you need to pop a heal. It gives you the high ground. It can change the advantage of a 1v1. So utilize these so you have the advantage when you're fighting. And the last point with the path of the fight is understanding how you can be unpredictable. And that's really the summary of the path of fight, is if you're unpredictable and they can't expect where you're going to be, you're going to win more fights. So by climbing up, the enemy can't see you when you're behind that rock, and if he's pushing you and you climb up, he doesn't know where you're at now. He's lost you for that second, and you're already tracking him, and you have an advantage because you're going to get the first shot. So even if you had bad aim and you missed some shots, you had that second advantage that he lost. So just remember this, and we'll move on to the next tip. So number 3 is playing aggressive. 1v1s are an even battle. There aren't other players shooting at you, and you can be aggressive, and that means you need to be aggressive. 1v1s typically last probably 20 to 30 seconds, honestly. It's built into us since day one of Apex. We've played and we tend to push, and we tend to push hard, and we're very aggressive. But don't be too relaxed in 1v1s because, if you're facing a Pathfinder, they can close that distance very quickly, and you don't have a team to support you. And you have to remember this in 1v1s. It's a change of pace. So you should always be playing aggressive in 1v1s. If you have an advantage, you need to take that, and you need to take it quickly. So keep this in mind, be more aggressive, and I promise you, you will win more fights. Sometimes even if you're at a disadvantage and you're aggressive, you can turn that into an advantage and you will win. Just work on your aggressiveness and push. So focus on pushing more and see how this changes your win-loss ratio. And I bet you it'll change and you'll win more games. So moving on, the 4th tip is understanding your strength and weapons and your abilities. So when you're 1v1ing seriously against your friends and you really want to win, you should only be running the weapons you're first extremely confident with and have an understanding of. Like, you should run your loadout that you want every game. Don't be running some guns that you think are better than others and you haven't practiced, and you don't know the recoil pattern. This is the time that you run the weapons you are best at. And understand what ranges, where you should be, how far away you should be, and everything that makes that weapon great and perform at its best. Yes, there's some user in there, but that comes down to you. But put yourself in the right spot to really use your weapons effectively. And then along with this, if you're using a legend like Wraith, understand her abilities and understand how to use them correctly. And make sure you think about who you're facing against. If you're facing a Pathfinder and you Wraith out, it didn't really do anything. And this is something I noticed with 1v1s is, I'm a Wraith main and I'm facing a lot of Pathfinder mains. So if I Wraith out, they're going to grapple over to me and it's game over anyway. So why not, instead of taking that millisecond that I get shot up while I'm Wraithing out because of, the nerf a couple months ago, why not just keep on fighting? And I've noticed that since I stopped using my abilities and kind of just focused on just staying with the fight, I was winning more fights. So make sure that you mess around with your abilities and who you're choosing in 1v1s. Personally, from what I've seen, Wraith's hitbox is still hard to hit, and Pathfinder is extremely useful in closing distances, and I think it really comes down to those two in 1v1s. But that's my opinion, but just make sure you're considering your abilities in this, and sometimes using them is not the best thing to do. I've been losing when I use my Wraith abilities, and it's just coming down to a gunfight. That's really all the 1v1 is. It's not, you don't have the ability or the advantage to use abilities to get in and out of fights like you do in normal pubs matches. So make sure you identify this and practice and tweak it a little bit. This comes down to something you figure out on your own, but it's just a thought for you to consider. The fifth and final tip is movement and cover usage. So putting everything together, 1v1s are pretty quickly. I mentioned 20 to 30 seconds. And you can't afford to take damage because gaps can get closed very quickly. You're typically at close and short ranges. And your cover and movement is really determining how much damage you take. And you can't afford to take that much damage, especially if you hesitate on your heals and you're not going to get them off. So make sure whether you're strafing or jumping or sliding, whatever you're doing, make sure you are doing that in a gunfight. I've noticed in a couple 1v1s I'm not doing it, and that's why I went down. Whether you're sliding in as you turn a corner and you're shooting after sliding, that's one of the best advantages is sliding around a corner and getting that first shot, because they may be aiming up a little bit higher. That gives you an advantage. Or if you're turning a corner, jump. Something that they don't expect. Be unpredictable. I've mentioned that before. Stay unpredictable in these 1v1s. Change it up. If you slid last time, jump this time out. He'll be aiming down this time. You're going to be up in the middle of the air. Switch up what you're doing, utilize your cover, and save some of your health. 1v1s really come down to whoever takes off shields first can push, and that's the advantage that you want. So for sticking through the video, I have two bonus tips for you that will really help you out. The first is try to get the first shot. If you can get an advantage from the start of a game, make sure you do it. Getting the drop on somebody will allow you to win more games. And the second is kind of cheeky, but I don't know if you guys know this yet. You can swap legends and your armor and your health is fully healed. So if you're feeling cheeky against your friend and you want to mess with them one game, you can totally swap weapons and cover and you'll fully regen all your health. So kind of cheeky, but kind of funny at the same time. It's good for a good laugh once in a while. Alright, so that's it for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment down in the section on what you think. How are your 1v1s going? And hopefully these tips help you out. That's going to be it for this one. SG out.